Means whenever you are designing any of the product, first you should know what all the requirements are there, how it should work, all those things. Behaviorally you should know. If you know that behavioral function of your any product, then easily you can implement that one. Okay, here what all the two requirements are there. One is the tea coffee vending is initiated by user inserting a 5 rupees coin. If the user is inserting the 5 rupee coin, then it will start its work. That is an input. Okay. Next, after inserting the coin, the user can either select coffee or tea, or press cancel to cancel the order and take back the coin. Three options will be there. See, whenever we are putting the coin, you have a tea and coffee vending machine. Both are available at the single machine. You should check for, you should select coffee. You want coffee or you want tea. Okay. If you don't want any of these two, after inserting the coin, you changed your mind, you want to cancel that one, you will press the cancel button. Okay. And solution is what? The FSM model contains four states, namely wait for coin, means the vendor is in front of the vending machine, but you didn't inserted any of the coin. That's why you will wait for the machine will be waiting for the coin. Wait for user input. That is, user has to give the input of coffee or tea. Okay, and dispense tea or dispense coffee. Any one will be dispensed. Okay, these are the four states. With respect to that, you will be taking the states A, B, C and D. A you can represent for a wait for a coin, B you can represent for the wait for user input, and C for dispensing tea, D for dispensing coffee. Okay, one by one we will see. At the when state A wait for coin is there, whenever you are waiting for the coin here. As and when coin is inserted, what will happen? Whenever your coin is insert, your event is insert a coin is inserted, action is okay, means as and when you are inserting the coin, it will get the output. Okay, whenever you have inserted the coin, second state is what? The vendor has to select the option which he want to select tea or coffee. That has to be done. See, event is tea button is pressed, at that time dispense the tea, action has to be dispensing of tea. If the event is coffee button is pressed, then dispense the coffee. That is, two options are there. After you are getting the tea or coffee, anyone, whatever the selection is done, after that where it has to go back? It has to go back to the first state, because after dispensing, event tea is dispensed, then action is done, then it will go for the next cycle where it has to wait for a next coin or next vendor. Okay, in the same way, for the coffee dispensed, if already coffee has been dispensed, the action is done, then it will come back to the first state and it will wait for the next person to insert the coin. Okay, one more option or one more action we have seen. Whenever the person is cancelling, means whenever the input is given with respect to tea or coffee, or else you can give one more option, that is a cancel button. As and when they are pressing the cancel button, you should return the coin. Okay, coin out. See, you can see that one option at the stage B, that is an wait for user input. User input is also one more input is cancel button. As and when you are pressing the cancel button, the coin will be given out. Okay, this is an your FSM model with respect to tea or coffee vending machine. Understood, everyone? With respect to the events, you have to write down your events properly, how many events can come into place, and what all the intermediate okay. Hmm. How many states are there? How many intermediate actions and events are there that you should know. After that, you can draw your FSM model. Okay. The event input coin, insert the state and wait for the user input. All those things we have discussed. See, design a coin operated public telephone unit based on FSM model for the following requirements. See, this is one more example we can see where coin operated public telephone booth. You have seen already the nowadays it is reduced because of the mobile. Everyone is having a mobile phone. That's why this public booth or public telephone booths are not at or not in the use. Okay. The options, so many different conditions they have given with that is a 7 conditions they have given. One is the calling process is initiated by lifting the receiver of the telephone unit. Whenever you are receiving the telephone unit, your call will be initiated, no? And after lifting, the phone user needs to insert a 1 rupee coin to make a call. 1 rupee coin booths we have seen, no? The same thing, how to design that one, you can see with respect to the behavior of the coin, sorry, 1 rupee coin phones. If the line is busy, the coin is returned on placing the receiver back on the hook. See, if line is busy, already you have inserted 1 rupee coin. Now you are calling to some other person, but the line is busy, you didn't connect to the phone call. Then whenever you are reverting that receiver, uh, receiver to the hook, then the coin will come out. Okay, that is with respect to coin is returned to the return on placing the receiver back. And if the line is through, the user is allowed to talk for a 60 seconds. And at the end of 45th second, promote for the inserting another 1 rupee coin for continuing the call initiated. See, whatever you are talking within 60 seconds, if it is not possible to finish, that's why after 45th second it will show that if you want to continue the call, you can insert 1 more rupee coin. Okay, that is one question, that is one more condition. And if the user doesn't insert a 1 rupee coin, the call is terminated on the completion of 60-second time slot. Means 1 minute you can talk for one rupee. Okay, after the completion of 60 seconds, the call will get cut. The system is ready to accept new call request when the receiver is placed back on the hook. See, after the call is over, then you will revert the receiver back into hook and you will come out. Then the next person has to come and initiate the next call. Okay. The system goes to the out of order state when there is a line fault. Whenever the line fault is there, it will go for out of order condition. These are the main inputs or main actions to be taken. Main actions and events will occur with respect to your public telephone unit. Okay. With respect to this, how many number of states you can consider? All those things you have to write it. Okay, see, sometimes you may consider one more extra event, no problem. How many events you want to, how many stages you want to take up, you can take up. But the event that is input and output from each and every state, it should be there. Okay, that you should maintain properly. At least one input, at least one output should be available with respect to any of the event. Okay, that you should consider. Next is here you can see state A, B, C, D till I is there. One is ready, means whenever the receiver is picked up, then it is in the ready state. B is wait for the coin. See, order you see how it is functioning properly, how it is functioning. With respect to that, you can write the states properly. Okay, whenever you are receiving the receiver, the phone is ready for the call. Second one, it has to wait for the coin. As and when you are inserting the coin, it should start the call. Okay. At that time, to start the call, you have to enter the number. That's why the state C is 3 is wait for the number. You have to wait for the number first. After dialing, state D is dialing, means after a number is dialed and you will be, call will be dialing. Means after that, state E is call in progress, whenever you are in progress. And F at the next state is call terminated. After completing the call, you can terminate the call. And unable to make a call. Now you will be seeing with respect to what all the other states where you can't connect to the calls. Okay, unable to make a call, that is also there. And invalid input number, that is also one state will be there. And state last state is out of order. That all the states will be coming into place here. First is what state I am ready for the call. What it will do, event is what, lift the receiver, action is okay, means you are ready with respect to the call. Next, that is your output with respect to state A. After that, in state B, wait for the coin is inserted. Okay, after that, action is okay. Then next is wait for the number input. Okay, if you are entering the valid input number, then you will dial the call. Action is you are dialing the call towards the valid number. Whatever the number you have entered, with respect to that, call will be connected. If the number whichever you have entered, means waiting for the number is the state C, whatever the number you have entered is wrong number, then display the error, means wrong number has been given. Then you will go back to once again place the receiver onto hook, then return the coin. You will get the coin back, and then you will go back once again to the ready state if you receive the once again the receiver. That is related to state A. After, see, if you have kept the valid number, then you will go for the line availability. If line availability is there, monitor the duration, means line available, and also the to whom you have called, the person has received that call. Then you have to monitor the duration, that is the 60-second time is there or not. Okay, till 60-second you have to allow the person to talk. Okay, that is call in progress is state E. After this, call termination option is there. Next state is call termination, that is you have to wait for an event, that is timeout. 60-second is over or not. If timeout is done, disconnect the line. That disconnecting line is the state F. Okay, you can see call terminated. After this, place the receiver back and action is done, and it will go back to what, the ready state. Okay, and one more thing is event is if after before the timeout also you can cut the call. See, within 10 seconds you have finished the whatever you wanted to talk, then you will place your receiver. Simply you won't wait for the timeout function, no. That's why in between, within the 60 seconds, if you are cutting the call, then you will place the receiver back and disconnect the line. It will go to ready state once again. Okay. And one more fault is with respect to valid number is there, but line is not available. Here line is available. See, line fault or line is busy, display that error and go to stage G, that is unable to make a call. If you are unable to make a call, place the receiver back and return the coin, get the return coin. That is back to once again ready state. Okay, and if you are in the fault connection only, your main line is not connected only, then it will be in the ready state only, and event will be line fault will be there, and you will display the error continuously till the line is done correct. And if the line is okay with respect to the out of order condition, then you will display that the line is okay now, you can make a call. This is overall related to FSM model for coin operated telephone system. Sequential program model, that is in a sequential program model, the functions or processing requirements are executed in sequence, and it is same as the conventional procedural programming. Sequential program model is the functions or processing requirements are executed in sequence, means one by one. It will be having first what has to be done, next what is the step, next what is the step. In that way, the interconnected sessions will be there and it will be continuously running. Okay, that is with respect to sequential run. Okay, it is same as the conventional procedural programming. It is same as the conventional procedural programming. Here the program instructions are iterated and executed conditionally and the data gets transformed through a series of operations. Here the program instructions are always iterated and executed conditionally with respect to if this condition is satisfied, then next condition has to be executed and the data gets transformed through a series of operations. Through a series of operations, data will be getting transformed. And finite state machine and flowcharts are used for modeling sequential program. Always these flowcharts are used for modeling sequential programs. The FSM approach represents the states, events, transitions, and actions, whereas the flowchart models are execution flow. And whenever we are seeing with respect to finite state machine and flowcharts are used for the modeling of sequential program. Whatever the sequential programs are there, you will be representing them in the form of FSM or flowcharts. Always flowchart, what it will show you, what state it is in first, then what state it should be in next what state. In this way, it is sequentially interrelated states you can see with respect to flowchart or FSM models. Okay. And here you can see the execution of the sequence functions in a sequential program model for the seat belt warning system is illustrated here. With respect to seat belt warning system, they have written one example program that is define on 1, define off is 0, means you are assigning the value for the on and off. If on is 1, yes, off is 0. If S is 1, no is 0. Okay. And void seat belt warning with respect to the program line and wait for the 10 seconds, means as and when you are inserting the you are getting into the car, you have to wait for the 10-second. No, if the check ignition key, if ignition is on or not, means you have started the car or not, that is check for the key. Then if check seat belt is off or on. Okay, if seat belt is off is equal to off means 0. Okay, off, set the timer for 5 and start the alarm. Timer for 5 you have to set and start the alarm. Then while check for the seat belt is off and check for the ignition key on and timer expiry on. Means all these three conditions you have to check to continue for the next one. What is it? After the timer of 5 seconds or 10 seconds, after that you have to check for the seat belt is on or not and ignition key is on or not and timer expiry is on or not, or expiry is there or not. Okay, if time expires expiry is also done and ignition key is on and seat belt is not kept not added, then you have to go for the on alarm. The alarm will be continuing the same way, but when it has to stop the alarm, you have to, seat belt is inserted, one thing, next is ignition key is on and time is not expired, then stop the alarm. This is with respect to seat belt warning illustrative program that you can see here. You can see that in the form of flow diagram or flow chart. That same thing has been represented with respect to seat belt warning system. One is ignition key is on. First, as and when you are getting into the car, you will be switching on the key. That is with respect to ignition key is on and wait for the 10 seconds. You have to wait for the 10 seconds to check for ignition and seat belt. Okay. If the ignition is wait for the 10 second and check for ignition key is on or not. If yes, then you have to check for the seat belt is on or not. Okay. If no, set a timer for 5 seconds and start the alarm. You have to set the timer for 5 seconds and start the alarm. If the seat belt is on, that is yes. If it is yes, then you go for the end. Means you don't switch on the alarm, you don't do any other things. Okay. After 5 seconds, you once again check for ignition on or not. If yes, check for the seat belt. If yes, then go for stop alarming. If that seat belt is not on, then go for timer expired or not. You have to check for timer expiry or not. If it is expired, then go for the stop alarm. If not, once again check for the ignition on or not. Okay. Then if ignition is not on, then go for the end. Okay. Without starting the car, you can't check for the seat belt availability. Seat belt is kept or not. Okay. That is with respect to sequential program model for seat belt warning system. Okay. Next we have concurrent and communicating process model. One minute. uh, Concurrent or communicating process model. The concurrent or communicating process models concurrently execute the task or process. Means parallelly you can execute two or three functions, then it will be a concurrent. Okay, it is easier to implement certain requirements in concurrent processing model than the conventional sequential execution. See, if you are going for conventional sequential execution, it has to wait for the previous event to complete. Then only your next event will start its execution. That is with respect to sequential execution. If you are going for concurrent processing model, parallelly, if two tasks can be executed parallelly, then you can do for that concurrent processing. Okay. Sequential execution leads to a single sequential execution of a task and thereby leads to a poor execution or poor processor utilization. When the task involves IO waiting, sleeping for a specific duration, etc. At that time, then it will be waiting for that input output only. Okay, and it will be in the sleeping part or sleeping stage. Your whole processor will be at that time. Concurrently, you can do some other work. No, that's why sequentially you will move from sequentially to the concurrent execution. If the task is split into multiple subtasks, then it is possible to tackle the CPU usage effectively by switching the task execution when the subtask under execution goes to the wait or sleep mode. If one subtask is going for the sleep or wait mode, then you can go for some other subtasks to execution mode. Okay. However, concurrent processing model requires additional overhead in task scheduling, task synchronization, and communication. Whenever we are going with respect to concurrent processing model, will always requires the additional overheads in task scheduling and task synchronization and communication. Whenever we are going with respect to concurrent processing, always you will be having one more extra work, that is task scheduling. Means which function has to run first and which function is having the highest priority, which function is having the lowest priority. In that way you have to properly arrange them, and also task synchronization has to be done and communication has to be maintained with respect to one task to the another task. That's why that is the main part with respect to your concurrent process model. Okay. An example, consider the implementation of seatbelt warning system using concurrent processing model. If I am using the concurrent processing model for this, you can split the task into see timer task for waiting for 10 seconds and task for checking the ignition key status, that is ignition key status monitoring task, task for checking the seatbelt status, and task for starting and stopping the alarm, and alarm timer task for waiting for 5 seconds. Okay, what we can do, the task cannot be executed when randomly and sequentially. You can't execute any function randomly or sequentially. We need to synchronize their execution through the same mechanism. For example, the alarm control task is executed only when the wait timer is expired and if the ignition key is in the on state and seat belt is in the off state. Okay, we'll use the events to indicate these scenarios, like you will be writing the event names, that is wait time expire event is associated with the timer task event and it will be in the reset state initially and it is set when the timer is expired, that is related to wait timer expires. Similarly, event ignition on, ignition off are associated with the task ignition key. Okay, and if you are going for the event seat belt on and off, they are associated with respect to seat belt task. Okay, you will be dividing them with respect to their tasks. Okay, with respect to timer, with respect to ignition, and with respect to alarm, and with respect to seat belt. Okay, create a initialization of events, that is wait timer expires, ignition on, ignition off, seat belt on, seat belt off, alarm timer start, alarm timer expires. These all things we are initializing. Create the task of wait timer, create task for ignition key status monitor, and create task for seatbelt status monitor, create task for alarm control, and create task for alarm timer. Okay, one by one task we have to write it down, means how we are going to do it in divided form. Okay, parallelly they can execute. First thing is uh, wait timer task, sleep for 10 seconds, signal wait for the timer expiry, set event, that is wait time expire, that has to be wait timer task. That will be given to alarm control task. Whenever with respect to alarm controlling, always it will check only with respect to wait timer. Okay, and also it will check with respect to ignition key and seat belt. These three has to be verified with respect to alarm clock. Okay, control task. And here you can see the connections also here. Whenever we are going for ignition key status monitoring task, where you can see while one, if the ignition key is on, set the event ignition on, reset the event ignition off, and else set the ignition event ignition off or reset the event ignition on. That is with respect to ignition key status monitor, means is the ignition is on or on or not. If it is on, then set the event ignition on. With respect to, you will be setting the event whatever the event we have generated, that is ignition on. If it is off, you have to set the event ignition offset. Okay, after this it will be given as an input with respect to seat belt and control clock also. If it is for seat belt, what will be you have, as the ignition is on, if it is ignition is on, you have to go for the set the event seat belt is off. If you are not switching on the belt, or else you can see with respect to seat belt status monitor, while if the seat belt is on, what we have to do, set the event seat belt is on. If you are resetting it, set the event, that is seat belt is off, or else you can go for off and on function with respect to reverse of this one. That is related to seat belt monitoring task. If you are going for alarm control task, wait for the signaling of wait timer expire. If the timer has been expired, whatever the amount of time we have given, that is 10 seconds. If timer has been expired, what it has to check, if ignition on, seatbelt is off, start the alarm. If unset the event alarm start option and wait for the signaling of alarm timer expiry or ignition off or seatbelt on. All these any one see all these things you have to verify. means timer, if timer is expired also, ignition is off or not, you have to check, or seat belt is on or off, you have to check. Then you have to stop the alarm. That is with respect to alarm control task.
Multiple choice.
Good morning, sir. Okay. Then, huh? Then you will go for the alarm timer task. Wait for the event alarm start. That is, if the event is so see, with respect to alarm timer task, wait for the event alarm start. Means whenever the conditions are not satisfied, like with respect to ignition of the ignition is on or not, or seat belt is on or off, and you have to check with respect to alarm timer expired or not. If all these three things are not satisfied, wait for once again with respect to event alarm. Okay, with respect to alarm start, you have to do the alarm once again, switch on the alarm, and then if you have to wait for one more 5 seconds, then you have to verify for all these three things. That is event, sorry, with respect to alarm expiry, with respect to the ignition on, with respect to seat belt. All these things you will have to see and set the event alarm timer expiry or not. Okay. After expires, you have to set the event alarm time is expired. These events are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 events are parallelly running. Okay, parallelly you are running them. That's why you can concurrently process each and every task with respect to your seatbelt verification function. Okay, seatbelt warning system you will be parallelly doing if you are dividing the events, or even if you are dividing the tasks separately. Okay, that is with respect to your